This painting presents a dramatic and unsettling vision. A city perched atop a towering rocky cliff, set beneath a dark and ambiguous sky. The city's architecture is rendered with rough, almost impressionistic brushstrokes, giving the impression of structures that are both ancient and fragile. Their forms appear to waver, as if threatened by the unstable ground beneath them. The cliff itself dominates the composition, its jagged, irregular surface painted with thick, expressive strokes that convey an overwhelming sense of instability and danger. Below, the landscape falls away into shadowed terrain, with scattered hints of fire or destruction. The overall effect is one of apocalypse and violence, inviting viewers to consider the vulnerability of civilization in the face of overwhelming forces. The sky above the city is a muted blue, yet it is far from tranquil. Here, several mysterious winged figures are set in motion, their forms rendered with swift, almost translucent brushwork. These creatures do not resemble ordinary birds or angels. Instead, their anatomy and posture evoke a sense of the surreal. The choice to populate the sky with such figures adds a layer of ambiguity and unease, suggesting that the threat to the city is not only from below, but also from above. Art historians have traced the origin of these winged figures to Francisco Goya's Disparates series, also known as Follies or Irrationalities, a set of prints exploring the darker sides of human nature and society. In Goya's work, such creatures often symbolize irrationality or folly, and their inclusion here connects this painting to a broader tradition of using fantastical imagery to comment on human affairs. A closer examination of the painting's surface reveals a deliberate emphasis on texture and brushwork. The artist employs a rugged, expressive style, with thick impasto and visible strokes that create a sense of immediacy and emotional intensity. This approach is reminiscent of Goya's late works, in which the physicality of the paint itself becomes a vehicle for psychological depth. However, in this painting, the technique is exaggerated, almost to the point of pastiche. Rather than striving for precise detail, the artist prioritizes mood and atmosphere, using the coarse application of paint to mirror the chaos and violence suggested by the subject matter. This stylistic choice marks a clear attempt to emulate Goya's innovative approach, yet it also underscores the differences between the master's original vision and the work of his followers. The apocalyptic landscape depicted here bears a strong resemblance to the themes and mood found in Goya's so-called black paintings. Created in the final years of Goya's life, these works are known for their dark palettes, disturbing imagery, and exploration of human suffering and irrationality. At the time of their creation, the black paintings were largely unknown to the public, but their reputation grew substantially over the course of the 19th century, influencing generations of artists and viewers. In this painting, the ominous cliff, the precarious city, and the suggestion of fire and destruction all echo the psychological intensity and bleak worldview characteristic of Goya's late period. While the painting is now thought to be the work of an emulator, its visual language clearly draws on the legacy of the black paintings, reflecting the enduring impact of Goya's exploration of the darker aspects of existence. The history of this painting's attribution is itself a revealing chapter in the study of Goya and his influence. When it was acquired by an American collector in Spain during the 1880s, it was believed to be an authentic work by Francisco Goya. This attribution was likely based on the painting's stylistic similarities to Goya's late works, as well as the use of motifs closely associated with the artist. However, as art historical scholarship advanced and more rigorous methods of analysis were developed, experts began to question the painting's authorship. Today, the consensus is that the work was created by one of Goya's emulators, an artist who borrowed heavily from Goya's style and thematic concerns, but whose identity remains uncertain. The provenance of the painting prior to the 1880s is not well documented, and its current location or ownership status is also unclear. This uncertain history highlights the complexities of attribution, particularly in cases where a master's style has been widely imitated and adapted by others. Zooming in on the winged figures in the sky, their ambiguous forms invite a range of interpretations. In Goya's Disparates series, such creatures often serve as visual metaphors for irrationality, folly, or the intrusion of the unconscious into everyday life. Here, their presence above the city suggests that the forces threatening civilization are not only external, but also internal, emanating from the human mind and spirit. The creature's indistinct outlines and swift brushwork reinforce their symbolic role, blurring the line between the real and the imagined. This use of fantastical imagery to convey psychological or moral themes is a hallmark of Goya's influence, and it is carried forward in this painting, albeit through the lens of imitation. The painting's technique further amplifies its unsettling mood. The artist's choice of a limited, somber palette, dominated by grays, blues, and ochres, reinforces the sense of desolation and crisis. The rough, almost violent handling of the paint mirrors the chaos depicted in the scene, while the lack of fine detail draws attention to the overall emotional impact rather than to specific narrative elements. This approach aligns with the broader trends in 19th century painting, in which artists increasingly used expressive brushwork and abstraction to evoke psychological states. However, the deliberate exaggeration of Goya's methods in this work suggests a conscious effort to create a pastiche, blending recognizable motifs into a new, yet derivative composition. The connection to Goya's black paintings is particularly significant in understanding the painting's place within art history. The black paintings executed directly onto the walls of Goya's house near Madrid were intensely personal works, reflecting the artist's preoccupation with themes of madness, despair, and the breakdown of social order. Although these paintings were not widely seen during Goya's lifetime, their eventual public display in the late 19th century had a profound impact on artists and critics alike. The painting under discussion here adopts many of the visual and thematic strategies of the black paintings. The dramatic contrast between light and shadow, the emphasis on psychological tension, and the use of fantastical imagery to explore universal concerns. By drawing on these elements, the artist situates their work within a lineage of art that seeks to probe the depths of human experience. The painting's journey through history reflects the broader challenges of attribution and the evolving understanding of artistic legacy. Its initial identification as a work by Goya speaks to the power of stylistic resemblance and the desire to connect new discoveries to established masters. However, the subsequent reattribution to an emulator underscores the importance of careful evidence-based scholarship in the field of art history. The lack of clear documentation regarding the painting's early provenance and its current whereabouts further complicates efforts to fully contextualize the work. Such gaps are not uncommon in the study of 19th century art, particularly when dealing with artists whose styles were widely imitated. From a symbolic perspective, scholars have approached the painting with a degree of caution, recognizing both its explicit references to Goya's motifs and the broader themes it evokes. The winged figures, the burning landscape, and the precarious city are interpreted as visual metaphors for irrationality, chaos, and the fragility of civilization. These themes resonate with the concerns of Goya's Disparates and black paintings, yet the specific meaning of the imagery remains open to interpretation. Some experts suggest that the painting reflects a 19th century fascination with the darker aspects of the human psyche, as well as anxieties about social and political instability. Others emphasize the importance of viewing the work as part of a tradition of artistic emulation, in which the boundaries between original creation and imitation are deliberately blurred. The painting's significance lies in its ability to encapsulate both the enduring influence of Francisco Goya and the complexities of artistic legacy. While it may not be an original work by Goya, it demonstrates how his innovations in technique, composition, and symbolism continued to inspire and challenge artists long after his death. The painting stands as a testament to the power of visual art to evoke emotion, provoke thought, and engage with the most profound questions of human existence. Its ambiguous authorship and uncertain history invite ongoing inquiry, reminding us that the study of art is as much about asking questions as it is about finding answers. In this way, the painting continues to contribute to our understanding of the 19th century imagination and the lasting impact of Goya's vision.